Tithing is not new covenant. Tithing is before there is any covenant. Tithing is the foundational principle of walking in the blessing of the Lord. It is the foundational principle of walking in the blessing of the Lord.
Now, even when I was a Christian, I would have recognized this as being some bullshit. So he's saying that tithing is not a new covenant. It's before the new covenant. And he's correctly, but he just said before covenant. So before the new covenant, yes, there is the idea of tithing. But before tithing became a covenant through Abraham's giving of 10% to Melchizedek, I'm going to do a whole nother video about Melchizedek later on. But there was no tithing. A covenant was made with Abraham through this God of Israel before that happened. So that would have perked my ears, even when I was a Christian, as to there is something fallible about this message that this man is preaching concerning this issue. The other thing that when I was a Christian, I would have recognized very quickly is the fact that he's saying that tithing is the foundation for blessings. Tithing is the foundation. No, Abraham was so-called, according to the story, Abraham was blessed in this story before he ever tithed anything to Melchizedek. He was blessed to be given the tithing of saying that you're going to have all this land, you're going to have all these people, all these descendants. He was blessed in the fact that he had his child. He was blessed in the fact that he was able to raise up an army to go and save Lot from Sodom, from the people of Sodom who had captured him, which then Lot goes back to Sodom, which makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. So blessings is not based on this covenant, this tithing. Cain did not tithe. He made a sacrifice that was unwelcome, but then he was blessed by giving protection from this guy. See how it doesn't work? None of that works. Noah was giving a blessing of surviving the flood and then being the progenitors of all people thereafter, according to the story, before there was tithing. There was sacrifice, but before there was tithing, and tithing is not sacrificing animals. So this already should let you know that it's bullshit, but it is this type of bullshit that gets people caught up into this religion and causes them to be poor. Let me show you this.
Everybody say day of giving. And in the day of giving, unlike our sacrificial Sunday, I'm asking everyone to give a particular amount. And that amount is $1,000. But we've changed it from just day of giving to day of giving plus one. And what that means is that we want you as a member of Perfecting Church to sow $1,000. But then we want you to get under the burden and ask your coworkers, businesses in your community, people that you do work with, your family, your friends, tell them to give, and we want you to come with your $1,000 plus another $1,000.
You see, I had to play that because I didn't want y'all thinking that I made it up, that this Perfected Church is requesting from its membership to pay $1,000. $1,000. Do you know how many people in that church probably don't have $1,000, probably are behind in their credit cards and their car notes and their mortgages and their utility bills and that goes beyond $1,000, but yet you want them to give it to the church because you teach these people that if you give this money to the church, that then God is going to bless you and it's going to be overflowing and pouring out of your cup. And oftentimes they will then tell you as part of the grift that God is going to bless you in other ways. It may not be money that comes directly to you. It may be health that you receive your blessing. It may be family love or a husband or a wife or your children or something, other methodology that you receive this blessing so that you can keep giving that money. But yet the church wants to continue to get this money. The pastors want to continue to get this money. And now they want you to go out to people who don't even belong to your church, people who ain't got shit to do with your church. And you are now supposed to go out and petition these people to give $1,000 to their church, which most of us know it goes into the hand of the people who are running the church, primarily the pastors, the deacons, the elders, whatever you have in those churches. This is nothing more than a scam or a grift. If each one of those persons who has $1,000 and they are able to put that $1,000 into a mutual fund a hedge fund or some type of investment. And if they're able to do this on a consistent basis, let's say you're able to put that $1,000 in, say 9 times a year, and that's $9,000 going in, say somewhere around 7-8% interest per annual that rotates, that annualizes every, well, not annualizes, that rotates every, compounds is the word, compounds every month. Then in 10 years, you'd have somewhere in the range of about 400 something $1,000. You created your own retirement. If you're able to do that for 20 years, that compounding interest will take you somewhere in the range of like 2.3, $2.45 million. Yet they want you to give it to the church in hope that somehow you're able to retire within 10 years, retire within 20 years, 30 years, 40 years. They don't teach you that. They're not going to teach you that. They're going to tell you that you should wait for this man in heaven. All the while, they're just taking your money. And this is what happened when you allow them to take your money.
Yeah, Haley, and these neighbors were absolutely stunned by what went on this morning. Neighbors in this community, they woke up to helicopters and FBI agents raiding a home in Avila. And once they found out why those federal agents were there, it was even more surprising.
Some of you say, I don't have 100,000, but you have 20,000. You have 50,000 here, or you have 10,000.
That's video of David Taylor asking viewers to send money to his church. Federal authorities now say Taylor used donations to fund an extravagant lifestyle that included this massive mansion in Tampa's affluent Avila community. FBI agents raided the home Wednesday morning.
It's very surprising to hear that type of thing was going on, again, right in your backyard.
It's unclear what authorities took from the home. This view from Skyfox shows several cars lined up with gift bows on top. Neighbors say the 10-bedroom, 10.5-bathroom, 28,000 square foot mansion is one of the largest in Avila.
Because there was like, how could a pastor afford to live in a house like that?
Well, the reason why that they're able to live in a house like that is because they have grifted people into believing that it is through their giving of money that will show they will gain favor from this God and have either a better life in the now, or they will assure themselves into heaven because they have been obedient to this God and they have demonstrated that they are putting their works towards their faith. And they'll quote things like James, like faith without works is dead. And they'll quote that because the works that you do to prove that you are living according to the teachings of Jesus is by giving money to the church, that you are sowing uncommon seeds, that you are giving on this day of giving, this 1,000 plus one. And through these methodologies of mind control and manipulation and shame and guilt, they convince people to give them their money. Now, I could have easily played that gentleman's indictment hearing where he was talking about how he needed the Gucci. He sweats out of all his suits, so he got to buy these expensive suits and he needs all this money. Or the other crazy pastor was talking about how he needs the jets. And it goes through every community, every country where Christian pastors, and not all of them, but enough, are swindling people out of their money on a consistent basis. Yet these people continue to be there. They continue to stay there, and they'll excuse things. They're like, well, when this pastor got caught the first time, because sex trafficking, when he got caught the first time, people made excuses for him. I give my money and I let God handle the rest of it. It's not for me to handle. Doesn't your God teach you a story of the parable of the talents, where it is the responsibility of the master and the servant to be responsible for the talents, for the money, for the increase? So to say that I'm just going to give my money and I don't think about it no more, that's lazy. That's you providing an excuse for the fact that you're supposed to be responsible for whom and where you give your money, for how your money is managed, how those talents happen. That's why y'all ain't getting shit, because the pastor's not going to tell you that, because now he has to explain where he's putting the money. Now he has to open the books. And they're not going to tell you that information, that you are responsible for where your money is going, because they don't want you to feel that way so they can continue to grift you. But I know mostly my messages are about deconstructing from Christianity, but this message, I would hope that even the Christians will hearken to the idea that you have to do better, even within your religion, because you are being impoverished, you're being taken advantage of, and you are responsible for that. So always remember, share the video, and subscribe. But you got to free yourself to be yourself.